As the Straw Hat Pirates continue to navigate the restless sea, they encounter the first island of the New World. The mere sight of it leaves everyone aghast. But then, an emergency distress call inspires them to investigate the island. Little do the crew suspect that this is the start of a battle the likes of which they've never known.
On the next One Piece, arriving, a burning island, Punk Hazard! I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
Dragons are thought to exist only in legends, but the Straw Hats find themselves face to face with this fire-breathing beast. Luffy and Zoro struggle against its overwhelming strength, determined to stop the creature from destroying everything in sight. But the crew is left even more stunned when the dragon begins to speak.
On the next One Piece, a battle in the heat, Luffy versus the giant dragon! I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
Luffy and his friends rescue a man from the dragon's flames, but the crew is astonished when they notice something surprising about his appearance. Elsewhere on the island, Sanji and his cohorts are abducted and find themselves locked inside a strange area. Once there, the team stumbles upon something they never could have predicted.
On the next One Piece, the Straw Hats stunned, enter a samurai's horrifying severed head! I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
A new crisis befalls Luffy's group in the Burning Lands. Meanwhile, Sanji and friends escape after hearing the shocking words of the samurai head. Upon fleeing, they wander into another room where they discover the terrible secret regarding this enigmatic island.
On the next One Piece, startling, the secret of the island is finally revealed. I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
The children are surprised at the sight of Sanji and his team. With the Master's men approaching fast and very little time to waste, the tiny captives share an upsetting truth about their plight. Nami is determined to answer the children's pleas, and the team rushes into action.
On the next One Piece, save the children! The Straw Hats start to fight! I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
Nami and Chopper race through the foreboding facility in an effort to rescue the imprisoned children, and Sanji and Frankie are faced with a difficult confrontation of their own. Meanwhile, having grown weary of being toyed with by the samurai torso, Brook decides it's time to retaliate.
On the next One Piece, a sword-play showdown, Brook versus the mysterious torso samurai. I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
Law prevents Smoker from advancing, and with neither side willing to cooperate, the tension rapidly comes to a head. Suddenly, the Straw Hats emerge from the facility with children in tow. Then, an unexpected move from Law causes the conflict to become even more explosive.
On the next One Piece, the warlord, Trafalgar Law! I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
With Law suspending their ship in midair, the G5 Marines have been overpowered. The stubborn warlord's mischievous actions bring about an unforeseen predicament for Nami and Sanji as well. Elsewhere, Luffy's team also encounters trouble while crossing the lake to get to the frozen lands.
On the next One Piece, in a real pinch, Luffy sinks into the ice-cold lake. I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
Tashigi has been cut into pieces, and the powerful soldiers of the G5 are about to be wiped out. Just then, Smoker confronts Trafalgar Law. A fierce battle between Warlord and Navy Vice Admiral begins. However, after their fighting lays waste to the entire area, the situation takes an unexpected turn.
On the next One Piece, a collision! Law versus Vice Admiral Smoker! I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
Smoker collapses when his heart is taken. As Law looks coldly down upon him, Tashigi and the G5 are overcome with anger. But before they can avenge their leader, Luffy arrives. Given the connection Luffy and Law shared during the War of the Best, this encounter could change everything.
On the next One Piece, meeting again after 2 years, Luffy and Law! I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
To everyone's surprise, the ruler of Punk Hazard is a highly admired figure in the ferocious New World. While the Straw Hats are still reeling over this newly discovered revelation, Smoker inches closer to uncovering the secret of the Master's true form.
On the next One Piece, the worst in the world, a scientist of terror, Caesar! I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
Struck by a sudden terrible pain, the children begin to collapse one after another. The Straw Hat crew is shocked when Chopper reveals the horrifying cause. Meanwhile, Zoro's group sets out to find the samurai, unaware of the colossal shadows looming nearby.
On the next One Piece, Chopper's Fury, the Master's inhumane experiment. I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
Luffy and friends rush to the laboratory to find the Master, while Nami and Chopper stay behind to look after the children. But hidden assassins soon target them. Just as Luffy realizes something is amiss, the two find themselves in grave danger.
On the next One Piece, to annihilate the Straw Hats, legendary assassins descend! I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
Luffy's group attempts to get Nami back by pursuing the Cool Brothers. Unfortunately, our heroes are besieged by an assortment of clever traps, as well as a constant barrage of attacks by the pair of mysterious assassins. Suddenly, Law appears and makes a surprising move.
On the next One Piece, save Nami, Luffy's fight on the snow-capped mountains. I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
Law proposes taking down an emperor. While his proposal leaves Nami and the others stunned, it's Luffy's answer which shocks everyone, including Law himself. Meanwhile, the diabolical scientist Caesar begins launching his utterly vile plan.
On the next One Piece, formed Luffy and Law's Pirate Alliance. I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
As the shocking truth behind Caesar's chemical weapons of mass destruction is gradually revealed, the Straw Hats set out to capture the mad scientist and put an end to his plans. But thanks to Luffy's course of action, the situation takes an unexpected turn.
On the next One Piece, Capture M! The Pirate Alliance's operation launches! I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
Luffy and friends battle it out with the Navy's G5 led by Smoker. After the intense battle concludes, a way inside the laboratory suddenly appears. Just then, Caesar's deadly smiley weapons rain down, one after another, plunging everyone into fear and chaos.
On the next One Piece, on the verge of annihilation, a deadly monster comes flying in! I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
Luffy and the villainous Caesar Clown face each other in battle, both refusing to budge an inch. But after the smoke clears, the master of Punk Hazard is captured. Just then, the shocking power of the gas fruit is revealed.
On the next One Piece, an intense battle, Caesar exercises his true power. I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
Sanji returns safely from the poison-filled lake, but he and the others soon find themselves surrounded by smileys and unable to escape. As despair fills the air, the samurai unleashes his true power.
On the next One Piece, a samurai who can cut fire, Foxfire Kinemon! I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
A mysterious individual appears and manages to injure Law with his overwhelming strength. While the horrifying truth of this individual leaves the Straw Hats shocked, it's nothing compared to when they discover the true identity of the mastermind behind Caesar and the enigmatic Vergo.
On the next One Piece, shocking! The true identity of the mystery man Vergo! I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
revelation about Warlord Don Quixote Doflamingo leaves everyone stunned. Meanwhile, Nami's group is already at a severe disadvantage against the children, and the horrifying power of the gas fruit soon makes the situation even worse.
On the next One Piece, save the children! The Master's evil hands close in! I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
The gruesome details of the secret agreement between Law and Caesar become clear. Meanwhile, while fleeing the Smileys, Zoro's group encounters a giant object, one that marks the true beginning of Caesar's horrifying project.
On the next One Piece, shaking up the new world, Caesar's horrendous experiment. I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
Caesar's ultimate poison gas weapon once turned Punk Hazard into a treacherous land of death. Now the murderous substance threatens to swallow everything whole and plunge the entire island into hopeless torment, while Luffy and friends fight to stay alive.
On the next One Piece, the deadliest weapon of mass destruction in history, Land of the Dead. I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
All across the New World, people watch keenly as the fearsome weapon Land of the Dead closes in on Luffy's group. And just when it seems our hero's luck has run out for good, Law sets a surprise plan into motion that's sure to turn the tables in their favor.
On the next One Piece, launching the counterattack, Luffy and Law's great escape. I'm gonna be king of the pirates! Subscribe, you guys!